Life is a profound journey filled with challenges. Unlike animals whose lives are straightforward with the sole purpose of survival and reproduction, humans face a complex struggle. To be human is to wrestle with the dualities of our nature. We strive for virtues like kindness, compassion, devotion, honesty, justice, and loyalty. Yet, at the same time, we're also confronted with greed, lust, trauma, and insecurity. Our challenge is to choose right over wrong, good over bad, and just over unjust. This inner conflict is a universal human experience. It reveals an inner schism, a split personality within each of us. On one hand, we yearn for righteousness and goodness. On the other, we're tempted by indulgence and excess. Often we ask ourselves, is this struggle normal? How can this be okay? Our matriarch Rivka, Rebecca, was deeply troubled by this precise question. After 20 years of marriage, she finally conceived, but the child in her womb was constantly in turmoil. Whenever she passed the house of monotheism and Torah, the baby would kick with excitement, and the same occurred when she passed a pagan temple. This duality caused her great concern. Would her child be torn between these opposing forces? Would he suffer from a divided personality? Rebecca sought guidance from the prophet, who reassured her, Shnei goyim bevitnich. You're carrying two children, he said. One will be passionate about holiness and God, while the other will be drawn to the physical indulgence and violence. Comforted by this revelation, she understood that these were two distinct children. But what about us? We are each one person, yet we grapple with both drives. Is the struggle normal? Are we normal? This question strikes at the very core of each and every one of us. And the answer, as explained in the beginning of the book of Tanya, reveals for us and illuminates our core. You're perfectly normal, writes the Alter Rebbe, because the truth is that we two are not just one. We possess two distinct souls. If we had only one soul, our split personality would be very troubling. Who am I? Is it Jacob or Esav? But the truth is we have two souls. A Jacob soul, a Yaakov soul, that yearns for the sacred tenets of Torah study, what he calls in Tanya the godly soul, the nefesh olikis. But we also have an Esav soul that seeks momentary satisfaction and indulgence, what he calls in Tanya the nefesh habahamis, the animal soul. These two souls constantly compete over who will get my attention. You and only you decides who will win this battle. For although God gave us two souls, He also granted us the freedom of choice. At any moment, we can choose to follow Yaakov or Esav, Jacob or Esav, our godly soul or our selfish soul. These are twins inside of me and you, and we can choose either path at any time. We're in control even if it doesn't always feel that way. Sometimes it feels as if we're tossed about by whims and desires. But unlike true storms, we have the power to stop the turmoil at any point. All it takes is a firm decision and the steadfast consistency to see it through. What is a life of purpose? When a Jew behaves according to the desires of his godly soul by following the code of Jewish law, that's a life of meaning and purpose. In the Parsha, we further read how Yitzchak loves Esav. Yitzchak wants to bless him with the most lofty blessings ever given to mankind. For Yitzchak sees the great, awesome potential that lies deep within Esav, and he hopes to reform it and elevate it, and ultimately to harness that awesome power that he possesses. To help us lock into our godly soul, we can practice this exercise brought in the Hayom Yom. In material matters, always look at someone whose situation is worse off than yours, and thank God for His kindness to you. In spiritual matters, one should always look at someone who is higher than oneself and plead with God to grant you the intelligence to learn from the other and the ability and strength to rise higher. I wish you a good Shabbos.